Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess. What's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine. From pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they're scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free.
What up, what up, what up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everyone doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another day of NFL offseason. Oh, man, these are the long days of summer, you know. It sucks not having football on a weekly basis. And this is just the beginning, right? But at least we have things to talk about. We have, free agency that will be here before we know it. You got the draft and you got all types of players to break down and to analyze and to, you get to make your wish list of certain players that you'd like to add to your team. And then there comes the hope for next season. You know what I mean? And that hope's wonderful because we all started at a record of 0-0, and everybody has hopes of being able to make a long playoff run and eventually be Super Bowl champions. This year, unfortunately, for the Miami Dolphins, it doesn't seem like that's going to be this year. And I know that people have showed the logo for next year's Super Bowl, and if you're into that superstitious type thing where the colors and look, it's the Miami Dolphins colors on bottom, that means it's going to be the Dolphins versus the Bears or Dolphins versus the Bucks because it's aqua and orange or aqua and red. I have no faith in that. I mean, if you want to believe in that, if you want to believe in that voodoo type deal, that's cool, but the Miami Dolphins are in no position to be able to compete. You're better off saying that that aqua color maybe is the Jacksonville Jaguars, because the Miami Dolphins have no hopes of reaching the Super Bowl this year. And not that we should expect to. And it's not a disappointment this year if we don't. Obviously, we're in a rebuild. We have a new head coach. We have a new general manager. We have a new coaching staff in general. So it's not surprising that we're not going to be competitive this year. I just hope that from this season that we can start to mold this team the way we want to, into a successful franchise, a franchise that can continue to be successful year in and year out, and not just have a 1 year winner, or not just go on a run 1 year, where we can be successful year after year after year and hopefully win championships along the way. Because I don't want to be like the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens, where you're winning a ton of games, but you never get to the promised land. You never win a Super Bowl. You're just competitive every year. You win your division. You maybe win a playoff game or two, but then you continuously lose in the conference championship or the divisional round. I don't want that. I want us to win championships on a consistent basis. And I don't expect us to become the next great dynasty in football or anything like that, but it'd be nice to, go to a Super Bowl every decade, at the very least every decade. Shoot. But let's say our good mornings. Lombardo, good morning. Marcos, good morning. Dean, what's up, brother? Pagan, what's good? How is everyone doing? Big C, you think they keep Tua? I don't think they keep Tua. There's too much risk, too many issues with them keeping Tua Tagovailoa. First off, you got to worry about him getting hurt. Second of all, you got to worry about, if Tua Tagovailoa competes for the job, I don't think there's a way that you go through practice in the offseason without Tua winning that job. If you listen to the Darren Waller interview with Johnny Manziel, it's no surprise that Tua Tagovailoa, and the way that Darren Waller talked about Tua in practice, he was amazed by Tua. He was amazed by what Tua was able to do in practice. Practice is not the issue with Tua Tagovailoa. In practice, Tua is completing every pass. Tua's being that quarterback that deserved the extension. He has the elite anticipation. He's putting the ball where it needs to be. He's getting the ball out fast. He's going through reads, because in practice he doesn't have to worry about being hit. Go back and listen to that Darren Waller interview with Johnny Manziel. He was amazed by what Tua was doing out there. So I think you cannot bring Tua back, because if he's going to compete with Quinn Ewers or whatever other quarterbacks you bring in the building, Tua's probably going to win that job. And that's not what Stephen Ross wants. That's not what Sully wants. That's not what Coach Half wants. They don't want Tua as the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, and rightfully so. Because for whatever reason, Tua in the regular season isn't good. He wasn't good last year. He was bad. He's not the same quarterback that got that contract extension. So no, I think they figure out a way to get rid of Tua. I do. I don't know if they're going to find a trade partner. I think that's going to be highly unlikely. Now, if I was someone like the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, but then again, Pittsburgh is a cold weather city. So how well does that mesh with Tua? Look at the options around the league. Vegas ain't going to want him, right? They're going to go with Mendoza from day one. Mendoza's going to go from day one. He's going to be the starter, right? What about New Orleans? New Orleans is another place that was linked to Tua. Tyler Shuck looked pretty good last year, so I wouldn't sit Tyler Shuck to start Tua. I wouldn't sit Tyler for Tua. Talk about Atlanta, Michael Penix. It is. Do you really? Does Atlanta really jump on that? What other options are there for Tua Tagovailoa? I just don't see many. I don't see many. Maybe if the Rams Matthew Stafford retires, but I find that highly unlikely too. I don't know where Tua's next destination is going to be, but I highly think it's highly unlikely that he's a Miami Dolphin next year, and I think it's highly unlikely the Miami Dolphins are able to trade him. I think that's what it is. Send him for like 18 to 20 million as a backup next few years, and Miami pay the rest of the contract. At least we'd save like 18 to 20 million at the very least. Miller says you got to get Tua this year. If he fails early, then you validate the move. If he actually shows out, it's a win-win. I believe the Colts would take Tua, but with a 5th round draft Dolphins pick. Listen, the Colts are an interesting option. Colts play in a dome. They're a run first team. I think the Colts could be an option. Daniel Jones is not going to be ready for the start of the season. Daniel Jones is a free agent anyway, but Daniel Jones isn't going to be ready for the start of the season. So the Indianapolis Colts is that may be the one team that Tua can go in there and he's not going to be any worse than Phillip Rivers was. He's going to be no worse than what Phillip Rivers was. I think he can do a lot of the things Daniel Jones did. I think he can do some of the things that Daniel Jones did better than what Daniel Jones did them. Edward says, I'm looking for lesser talent development by our new coaching staff. Tight end, Kuntz, wide receiver Marshalls, quarterback battle, quarterback Cam Miller, etc. Well, Cam Miller was brought here by the last regime. That has nothing to do with this regime. No competent GM is going to sign him in free agency, to be honest, with his injury history. That would be negligence on the NFL's part to allow any other team to sign into a contract. The NFL isn't going to step in and stop him from signing. So I don't know where you go. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen. The NFL's not going to step in. Now, will other teams not sign him because of his injury history? Sure. Or trade Tua for Murray straight up. That's just one bad thing for another, right? I don't want Kyler Murray here neither. I think Kyler Murray can win games for us. I think Kyler Murray would help us win games. But that's not what this season's about for me. I don't know what Coach Half and Sully are thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. But to me, the smart move is not to try to win 7-8 games this year. You're not going to be in a position to make a playoff run this year. As loaded as the AFC is, you're not making a playoff run with the way this roster is constructed. So all you're going to do is push yourself farther and farther down that draft poll for 2027. So I'm hoping that Sully and Coach Chaff are on the same wavelength as me, where we're gonna evaluate players that we have. We're gonna continue to build through the draft. We're going to make some free agent signings. Don't expect any big name free agent signings. Don't expect any flashy free agent signings. They'll sign some free agents to finish out the roster, but don't expect a George Pickens signing. Don't expect any signing like that. But there is one signing that I am worried about. There's one signing I think they may throw their head into. There's one signing that I feel like would be horrible for the franchise. The one big signing that I feel like would be horrible for this franchise. And that'd be the signing of Malik Willis. I want nothing to do with Malik Willis. Zero zilch, not a damn thing to do with Malik Willis. If Coach Half and Sully bring Malik Willis in here, I think that's a massive mistake. Massive mistake. First and foremost, they're talking about this guy getting $20-25 million a year. What has Malik Willis done to prove that he deserves that type of money? Malik Willis has proven that he can be a competent backup quarterback, that he can come in for a small stretch and win you a couple games. But Malik Willis isn't a proven commodity. You cannot go off that small sample size and say, hey, this is our guy for the next 2-3 years. The salary cap's already shot for the Miami Dolphins. We're supposed to be trying to get it better. I do not believe Malik Willis is the answer for the Miami Dolphins. And I'm hoping that Sully and Coach Half stay far, far away from that move. Miller says you don't move Tua with draft capital given how Greer left us. We need all the picks we can get. Tua compared to free agency right now should lean towards Tua. We can't get rid of him just because. Listen, I just don't think that. I think Stephen Ross is ready to move on. And then you got to consider how much money you're going to be on the books for if Tua gets hurt again. And there's a good chance Tua gets hurt again. And then the backlash, the backlash from the media. What if Tua gets seriously hurt again? What if Tua's carted off the field and suffers some massive head injury? You know, before, I guess the risk was worth the reward to a point. But at this point, is it worth sending Tua Tagovailoa out there the way he performed last year? Is it worth that? Is it worth the chance that he gets hurt like that? The backlash this franchise will face? What the thinking is what they said in the press conference multiple times. They're going to build through the trenches and make this a physical team that's going to handle cold weather every year. Yeah, I mean, that's what they absolutely said that. And I've been calling for them to build through the trenches for years. I've been saying build through the trenches. That is the most important thing in football. You got to have good trench play on both sides of the ball. You got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to stop the run. 101 of football is you got to be able to run the football and stop the run. Now Aaron Brewer is up for hopefully a contract extension, but Aaron Brewer doesn't fit that mold. Aaron Brewer's not a big physical offensive lineman. And I've said this on the channel before, Aaron Brewer's more finesse. He's more agile. He's not a big, strong offensive lineman. So he doesn't fit their mold. So we move on from Brewer? Do we try to trade Brewer? I mean, I think there's enough holes on this team that we don't need to go create unneeded holes. So Brewer doesn't fit the mold, but do you really get rid of Brewer and create another hole on this roster? Do you really get rid of Brewer and create another hole where there doesn't need to be? Pagan says, hopefully it doesn't take too long to get right. I need some playoffs in my life. Miller said, watch them do that. Build the line and give two a time. Get rid of the Mickey Mouse pass. Have Mike ran and watch Slowick install a better offense. I don't think Slowick's a better offensive mind than Mike McDaniel. I don't think that Bobby Slowick's going to do a better job than Mike McDaniel. And you might not have liked everything Mike McDaniel did, and Mike McDaniel made plenty of mistakes while he was here. But I just don't believe Bobby Slowick's going to do a better job than Mike McDaniel. Said Malik cost $20 million. Yeah, $20 million a year. Malik Willis is going to cost you $20 million a year. At least. Greg says no Willis. I agree. Colts play 8 home dome games, 1 game away dome at Jacksonville. Well, they play Jacksonville. They play Houston, which are both warm. Who else is in that division? Tennessee is warm weather. Greg says, play yours, draft 27, waste of money if we do that. Willis just proved he's a capable backup for now. Yeah, I mean, he proved he's a capable backup. But again, bringing in Malik Willis, not just because of the financial obligation, but I think Malik Willis would help you win some games. I think he's good enough that he can help you win some games. I don't think he's a playoff caliber quarterback. I think if he starts a whole season, he's probably not getting your team to the playoffs. But I think if he starts a whole season, he's talented enough to win you 7 games, 6 games. And that's too many games to be won for the Miami Dolphins in 2026. The goal for this franchise, the main goal for this franchise should be to get a franchise quarterback. Something we haven't had since Dan Marino. That should be the number one objective. What puts you in the best possible position to get a franchise quarterback? To have a terrible 2026 season. That's the most likely avenue to get you a franchise quarterback is to have a bad 2026 season. That way you're picking at the very top of the 2027 draft. And then you swing your shot and hopefully you hit a home run. And if you don't hit a home run, you take your shot again next year and the year after that and the year after that. No longer do you give guys 4 or 5 years to get it right. You draft year 1 starters, guys that can come in and compete immediately. And if they don't get the job done, you're heading into the draft the very next year and swinging for the fences again. Quarterback is the number one, the most important position in all of football. In all of football. You got to get it right. You got to get it right. Miller says, I'd rather trade for Spencer Rattler than sign Malik. Stick with Tua if we want Malik. Go get us some real wide receivers. Getting Malik is like repaying Tua. We need a franchise quarterback in 2027 draft. Peg and I agree. Draft best player available in draft and roll with yours. I think that's smart move, Dean. Oh, jeez. Jesus. What up, Joe? Yeah, I think we move on from Brewer because he doesn't fit the type of offensive lineman that Green Bay Packers guys usually draft or sign, for which it's biz physical guys. Listen, that's not. Maybe eventually you get rid of Brewer, but do you really create another hole on this roster? It's going to be a shit year. Get ready. That's okay. It's okay if it's a shit year, though, guys. I'd rather have a shit year than a mediocre year. I'd rather have one shit year than a mediocre year any day. Because hopefully that shit year gets us where we need to be. It's a step in the process. This is a process. Rebuilding your franchise is a process. And being bad in 2026 is a step in that process. Joe says, Anthony, I don't think this team is going to do everything identical to the Packers. I agree, but they did say they want to get big physical trench players. They did say that. Joe says, I don't want to win some games. I agree. We might be getting the first pick in the 2027 draft. Listen, I will look at 2026 as a massive failure if we don't have a top 5 pick. We need a top 5 pick. To be real, we need a top 3 pick. I would love us to have I'd love us to have a number 1 pick. If I were the Miami Dolphins, I'd be willing to trade out of the first round this year. This team has massive holes on it. Would you trade out of 11 and trade into the second round and take someone's first next year and their second this year? I would. Because that gives you the ammunition next year to move up if you need to move up. I wouldn't be looking at making a draft pick at 11 this year. I'd be looking to trade back. Gain all the possible draft capital that you can possibly get. You have a lot of holes on this team. We've went through it. We need a quarterback. We need 2 wide receivers. We need multiple probably offensive linemen if you think that Coach Half and Sully are going to do a complete rebuild of the trenches. We need multiple linebackers. We need multiple corners. We need safeties. We lost to Tennessee Titans, led Will Levis, and Colts led Anthony Richardson. I'd want them over Malik, and they're cheap. This team is probably drafting Arch on the hype alone. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's guaranteed. But you don't know what type of year Arch is going to have this year. Yeah, Arch didn't have the greatest year last year. But that doesn't mean Arch doesn't come and light the world on fire this year. Draft and play all of our rookies for development in 2026. Draft a quarterback in 27. I agree. I would be starting every single one of our rookies, every one of our second year players. Absolutely. Don't go in the free agency trying to sign anybody. Don't go sign Malik Willis. Just don't do it. They're talking about Derek Carr now. No. None of those moves. Malik Willis doesn't turn us into a playoff team. Derek Carr doesn't turn us into a playoff team. So why go out and sign any of those guys? All they're going to do is take us out that top 5 picks to a 10 to 15 pick. And I don't want that. That'd be very stupid on our general manager's part, our coach's part. This team is not, they're not under any pressure to win this year. Stephen Ross knows this is a retooling year, a rebuilding year. There's no pressure to win. So they don't have to act like there's pressure. Big C, I have a question, but expecting players to be year one starters seems unrealistic. Not everybody can start right away because they're probably not physically there. You're right. Not everybody is able to start and produce right away. And that was our problem with last year's team. There was too much. We relied on our rookie players too much at the beginning of the year to produce for us. And then when they didn't produce for us, we weren't a very good team. When Kenneth Grant didn't come in and set the world on fire, when Jonah didn't come in and become a all-pro offensive lineman from day one, that set us back because we were relying on them. To have a successful year last year, we needed our rookies to come in the door and play at an all-pro level, a Pro Bowl level at the very least. And when they didn't, we weren't very good. We were giving up the most rushing yards per game last year at the start of the season. Because we just weren't, even though we took 3 defensive linemen in the first round. Or in the Miller says, if we're wanting the number 1 pick, why would we trade Tua? Fire sale everyone of value, gut the team, and throw Tua out there with even less. Why would you throw Tua out there? First and foremost, because Tua is probably better than most of the guys you're going to bring in. Tua's going to be, I think Tua will be better than Quinn Ewers. I think Tua would win you more games than Quinn Ewers would. Unless Quinn Ewers makes a massive jump from year 1 to year 2. Again, you don't want to start Tua because of the injury concerns. And I really believe Stephen Ross is done with Tua. It's obvious, Miller, that you're all about keeping Tua and having Tua be the starter for next year. And that's cool. That's your opinion. That's the way you feel like this franchise should go. I don't think that's how this franchise is looking at things. I don't believe that Coach Half and Sully and Stephen Ross are talking about Tua being the starter of the Miami Dolphins. I just don't. I don't think it's a conversation being had. Marco says, "I'm telling you, Big C, Drew Alar. Again, I would not be mad at a late round Drew Alar pick. Third round or later, I'm all right with taking a fly." Joe says Miller because Tua will be playing for something to prove. He'd probably be squeezed out a few wins. I agree. I agree. What's T say about Tua? He's good enough to be not good enough or something along those lines. Tua will win you some football games because Tua is talented. But that's the direction I hope this franchise is looking to go. I hope this franchise isn't trying to, I hope they're not basing this year's success off of winning football games. I think that'll be a massive mistake if they're gauging the success rate of the 2026 season off of wins. If that's what they're doing, maybe we didn't hire the right guys for the job. If they can't see the clearest path to rebuilding this franchise like a lot of us fans can, and I don't pretend to be an expert, but the writing's on the wall to how you get to the promised land. And it's because we've seen it from other teams year after year after year. We've seen teams strike out doing it, but we've seen teams come from the dead doing it. You have a really bad year, and then the next year you're drafting your franchise quarterback and you're building your franchise up from that point on. That is the most important thing the Miami Dolphins have to do is find their franchise quarterback. Screw everything else. Finding the franchise quarterback for the Miami Dolphins is the number one agenda. And if it's not for this coaching staff, if it's not for this general manager and front office, maybe we hired the wrong guys. I'm telling you, Big Z, Drew Alar, Sawyer Robinson for the Dolphins, those two best quarterbacks in this draft. Our last third should be Alar. I'm cool with that, Joe. He was playing with something to prove last year and showed he was incapable. With even less, he would look like Mark Sanchez out there. Alar is going to be a generational talent. That's big words. It's important for us to finish below the Jets and not let them get our guy. I agree. Anthony Marcus, I've been banging the table for Sawyer Robinson for a while now. Joe says generational talent is a stretch. It doesn't matter that Malik is a short back quarterback on Packers and Titans. He's a franchise quarterback now. Lewis, like, because he's the flavor of the month. You know, people want to throw $20 million at this guy, and he's automatically the savior of the Miami Dolphins. Again, because he comes from Green Bay. That was my biggest issue with the front office and the coaching staff this year is that everybody they signed just happened to have worked with Jeff Hafferly along the way at some point. These guys weren't necessarily the best guys for the job. We didn't go out and hire the best possible offensive coordinator we could. We hired an offensive coordinator that was cool with Jeff Hafferly. We didn't hire the best quarterbacks coach possible. We hired the quarterback coach that was most cool with Jeff Haley. And that's why I didn't like. I didn't like that. Every move was like that. Everyone we signed had a prior relationship with half. Instead of interviewing candidates or interviewing guys you've seen around the league, guys that you respect, guys that you like what they're able to do or what they've done at previous stops. There was none of that. It was just, I'm going to hire people that I've worked with firsthand. And not everybody that you've worked with firsthand is the best candidate for the job. And just because you were in Green Bay with Malik Willis, and just because Malik Willis had 3 okay games, doesn't mean he deserves to be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins for multiple years. It doesn't mean he deserves $20 million a year and be gifted the Miami Dolphins starting position. All Malik Willis is going to do is take us from a top 3 pick to a pick 10 to 15. Because he'll win you some games. He's athletic. He'll run the football around. He'll make some plays. And all that's going to do is ruin everything. He's a prototype. Klebus has 180 touchdowns and 20 interceptions in college. Listen, I'm willing to give any of these college guys a chance. They're prospects. Bring them in, see what they can do. Maybe you hit a home run. If you can hit a home run with a later round draft pick at the quarterback position, that's huge. That's huge for this franchise. Depends who was available at the end or if Styles is there, but I agree, trade back. I think we trade down and get more picks. Watch. Taylon Green, 94 touchdowns, 6'6", 235. Yeah, and he's a guy that, Louis, where's he going? 5th, 6th round? Is Taylon Green going 5th, 6th round? I want a Larba is purely on the things you can't coach. He needs a ton of development. Alar or back in the 5th. Yeah, again, I'm cool with any of those guys coming in and let them compete. I'd much Drew Alar is our starting quarterback for the 26th season than Malik Willis. If Drew Alar comes in and lights it on fire, we win 8 games because he just played out of his mind, I'm cool not having the number 1 pick because we got our quarterback. I'm cool with not having the top pick in the draft because we have our quarterback of the future. If Malik Willis comes in and wins us 7-8 games, I'm not cool with that because he's still not my future quarterback. We still don't have the future quarterback. But if Jalar does it, I'm good with it because we have our future quarterback. Dude can make any throw, can put the ball on a fly's ass 40 yards away with a flick of the wrist. Flick of the wrist. Dude, I'm a LAR fan, and that's crazy, but do you, FLO? Wait for next year, Dante Moore or Lenore Sellers. I mean, you never know who's going to pop up at the top of the draft next year. No one was talking about in Mendoza like that. Joe Burrow. You have these guys that come out the woodwork and just light the world on fire. Who knows who's going to be there? I would just like to have the option to take whatever quarterback I want, not with what I'm left with. And this year, Mendoza is not an option. And God only knows who else is going to be taken before our pick. Not saying that Mendoza is the answer, but I don't want to be force-fed a quarterback. I don't want to be left with, well, this is what we have left. You can have your pick of this. No, I want to have my pick of whatever I want. T-Line Green will be the best in my opinion. Talent over everything. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. That's the beauty of football. It plays itself out. I mean, let's be real. I mean, lots of times people, the most talented people don't pan out. It's about work ethic. It's about intelligence too. You might be able to run the ball the fastest. You might be able to catch the ball the best, but maybe you're not intelligent enough. Maybe you lack intelligence. Maybe you lack that will to push yourself. Maybe who knows why overly talented people don't succeed and don't meet their potential. But it happens every year. It happens every day. Tua has a damaged hip. He's done. I've been saying it all along that since 2024, Tua hurt his hip. The Dolphins were mum about it. Nobody wanted to tell us what was wrong. I knew it was the hip. And now he gets no torque on his passes. He lost. His arm wasn't overly strong. Tua got all his downfield passing from his mechanics, from his bottom half. And now that hip is acting back up, he has no velocity on his throws. He can't get the ball there when he needs to get it there anymore. Y'all get them likes up for Big C. Yeah, hit that like button. How is Mendoza late picket? I don't get that one either. Underwear Olympics will boost Alar. Yeah, I'm curious to watch these guys perform at the combine. I hope they all come out and show out. But yeah, I'm all in on taking a later round quarterback, whether it's Drew Alar, Taylor Green, whoever it is. Bring some young guys in to compete with what we have, and I feel like that's best. Stay away from Malik Willis. Stay away from Daniel Carr. Stay away from Daniel Jones. Stay away from any NFL free agent possible. We don't need a filler at quarterback. Let's take a look at the big board for free agency. Position, quarterbacks. Malik Willis is the first ranked quarterback on here. Projected contract, 2 years, 20 million average, 20 million, 30 million guaranteed, 40 million total. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. There's a good chance he goes back to Pittsburgh. Daniel Jones, still dealing with injuries, but he's almost 29 years old, not touching it. Russell Wilson, he should retire. Marcus Mariota, no need to bring him in. Tyler Huntley, nope. Tyrod Taylor. Listen, if I was looking for an experienced quarterback and I was a playoff team, I would consider signing Tyrod Taylor, but No. Kenny Pickett, no. Garoppolo, Minshew, Sam Howell, no. I don't want nothing to do with any of these guys. Again, don't expect the Miami Dolphins to be in the hunt for any of these guys. These are the top ranked free agents. Trey Hendrickson for Cincinnati. They're talking about a 1-year deal for $28 million or some shit for him. George Pickens, 1 year, $28 million. Talking about him getting the franchise tag. Miami needs wide receiver help, but it won't be George Pickens. Tyler Lindenball, the Miami Dolphins could use. That's that big physical center. He's only 25 years old, but you don't go out and give a center a huge contract when you're in the middle of a rebuild. You don't go out and give big contracts out in the first year of a rebuild regardless. That's why all these guys are Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker, Devin Bush, Brees Hall, Alec Pierce, N'Kobe Dean, Mike Evans, Jalen Phillips, Travis Etienne. Again, there's nobody on this list really that, you know, even Jalen Watson, he's a young corner, but still, he's going to be 28. By the time we're ready to compete, what are you going to be pushing 30? What are you going to be pushing 30? You build through the draft. You build through the draft. Just build through the draft and, you know, see what we can get going. Well, we had Tyler Warren last year, two of the best running backs in the league at the time in his backfield. Wide receivers don't have great stats with Alar and pass catchers. We should try and draft back. Try and trade back. Warren had over 100 catches. Listen, Warren had over 100 catches, yes. But we showed that. Look what we did with Jonnu Smith. We gave Jonnu Smith had damn near 90 catches, 1,000 yards for the Miami Dolphins. Any tight end can produce that. Now, Tyler Warren, was he a great prospect? Yes. But I'm still not mad at that we took Kenneth Grant over Tyler Warren. And maybe Tyler Warren should have been the pick. Maybe he should have been. But that defensive line was a much more crucial area of need than tight end was. And I'm still not writing Kenneth Grant off. I think Kenneth Grant can still be great. See Michael K around for a while. Nah, I mean, I don't know where Michael K's been. Last time I seen him on here, he came on the show. I think both of you guys did, didn't you? Big C, what are your thoughts on us bringing in the former Eagles offensive coordinator to be our passing game coordinator? To me, that doesn't matter. All he's doing is following orders from Bobby Slowick. I mean, how much he doesn't have no control over anything. It's all on Bobby Slowick. What's Bobby Slowick going to do? The Eagles pass game coordinator, he's going to have little effect. Dolphins get Malik again, mediocrity. I agree. Pickett staying in Dallas. Yeah, I think they franchise tag him. Trade Chop and a third for Crosby. There's no way that they would do that. And Crosby's going to be an old man by the time you know what I mean? Derek Carr is going to the Jets, and he's going to get booed out like Daniels in New York. How about McDuffie? I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah, I mean, Max Crosby's getting up there in age. He's not a player that you're going to have for the future. Not a player you're going to have for the future. On this roster, you're not bringing in older vets. There's no need. You're not signing anybody that's over 30 years old because you got a year or two before you can compete. Plus, he's paid, could possibly get included in the Tua trade. They got Mendoza. They're not trading for Tua. And again, you want Crosby to come in here and what? Win us a couple games? Win us a couple games to take us out the top 10 in the draft? Crosby isn't going anywhere. And if he is, he's not coming to Miami. Miami's not in the market for any big, flashy deal. Me personally, I'm probably good on another Alabama quarterback at this point. I just hope we get it right. I hope whatever avenue we decide to go down, we get it right. As far as young quarterback goes. I know Malik Willis will be the wrong answer, though. That's not the answer to the test. If he's there at 11, I don't think they can pass on him, Joe. We shall see. It's very, very interesting. We're going to start breaking down the college draft, the NFL draft. Is there a position you guys want to start with? You want to start with quarterback? You want to start with corners, linebackers, offensive linemen? Where do you guys want to start? I don't think there's any reason to trade anybody but Tua. I mean, unless someone wants to give us a first rounder for Waddle. Shit, I didn't plug in my computer. But yeah, my computer's gonna die, so I gotta get out of here. We're gonna start breaking down. What's today? Today's Thursday. Monday, we'll start breaking down. We'll figure out what position we want to break down. We'll start breaking down prospects for the draft, position by position, position and needs. And we'll go from there. We'll break down the top 7 quarterbacks, top 7 wide receivers, and see if there's anybody that we can possibly hit on. We'll start doing mock drafts, which are always fun. But yeah, tomorrow we'll do a little open panel thing. Stop in, come on the show, and we'll just shoot the shit. Then no topic needed. We'll just go back and forth and talk Dolphins football tomorrow. So a little freestyle Friday. But I love you before this shuts off on me. You know what it is. Fins up. Hopefully this new regime gets it right. And hopefully we're back competing for championships and can end this long drought that we've been on. But I love y'all. You know what it is. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Fins up forever and ever and always. Peace.
Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.